Okay, I think this is hilarious, but I also think probably useful to just understand what's going on. Simply because, like, man, here's one thing that I posted that video yesterday with Jordan Peterson where he was talking about like you need for the community to have harmony in order for you to basically be in a good state of mental health. Now, the reason I said this, or the reason I posted that video is because like the words used in like the he said, um, pointed to something which I think a lot of people kind of like brush over, and that is like this. Because for so long in America we have like normalized these like oppressive states. Like we have normalized just having like one particular group who just like has all the shit and they like get all the shit and they do all the things and they're always happy, and then the other group who's like not, and it's totally racialized. It's like go look at like white women be happy and have shit, go look at black women be depressed and not have shit. Like this is like the normal state of events. And so what's happening basically in California, it looks like they're making a law that's trying to like basically like force some people to get like mental health treatment. And I want to talk about this for a second because like man, like I made another video about this, but the racialized weaponization of mental health in America. If you didn't know this, I'm gonna just like blanketly say it to you. Like most of the YouTubers that you see on here who are making these video essays explaining societal problems and concepts that are impacting us all and that are making sense to all of us and are bringing all of us like quite a lot of clarity. The TikTokers, I don't know if you guys remember, there was that black therapist who got on and she was talking about like the tragic state of like black males in America who need therapy but aren't getting it. Like all of these things are really happening. Like people aren't just coming on and saying it and then it's not real. They're like making it, they're delusional. That's not what's happening. Like then there's a whole other part of like poverty. Like you can be mentally sane and just be poor. So what's happening in California is they're saying all of the homeless people are mentally ill, right? And then I feel like if you actually go listen to like most of the conservative people, what are they saying? Like actually if you just pretty much like take care of yourself and you live righteously, you'll probably be fine. Now, if you didn't realize what's actually happening, because like there's a million like versions of this, but basically, like in all the places where there's like tent encampments on the street, like people are choosing to live like that. They've like given up on society, and most of them have like resorted to like just using drugs and sleeping on the street. Like that's what's happening. That that's what it is. I don't know if I would say that those people are like mentally ill. They probably have just like given up on society. And then the weird part is like how is it that how are the most mentally ill people in society out here making like video essays? They're like writing manuscripts. they they got sponsorships and jobs. I don't know. Like I'm sorry, that don't seem that mentally ill to me. Like I understand if somebody's like not able to function, like they can't talk, they can't, you know what I'm saying, like they can't interact with others. Then that's another thing you also got to be clear about because like me personally, I'm super antisocial. Like I just don't like people. I just don't. But you can't like force me to like you and then be like my mental illness or something because I don't like you. Like that's not how that works. You could just not like somebody and then just socially isolate yourself from them. That's a real fucking thing. So that's just no. I think what's happening in California, what's happening in California is pathetic. It's pathetic for a lot of reasons because like we all know why. Like the shit that has been going on in San Francisco has been going on for so long. Like people from all over the country and really the world, and these are actually a lot of people who are from like middle class families, upper middle class families. Everyone knows that if you want to like fuck off a couple years of your life and just like experiment with drugs, you go do that in San Francisco. So many people have just like left their very comfortable middle class lives, taken a fucking bus to San Francisco and just came there to do drugs for 3 years, and then they go back home, go to rehab, and then enter the regular society. Like at this point it's like a crossing point for like getting back into normal society, if we're being honest. Like as a person whose mother was a social worker and who told me these stories, like hella kids do this. This is like a very normal thing. So the fact that California now has all of these people who are like dying of drug overdoses and shit on the street, and they're like literally sleeping in tents. Like I feel like the city is what it's saying is we're trying to clean up the streets. But now they're trying to mask it as like mental health. And like those two things aren't the same. And then also drug abuse and mental health aren't the same. People who have like substance abuse issues, they have substance abuse issues. But also the people, I think we need a new like distinguishing group for like black women, because like we just have different issues than everybody else. Like I think Matt Walsh, that Matt Walsh conversation, it just brought up a really good fucking point. Like I think I'm actually gonna like snip that and we can like talk about it, because it was so good. Like what he's saying is like, everyone in the history of the world has been not great, and we had no examples of any humans on earth who are doing the right thing. So how is anybody expected to do the right thing? Well, it's always been like that for black women, and we've always been on the receiving end of like the shitty part of the stick, and we've always dealt with it like for history forever. Like that's the only story. So yes, Matt Walsh, like that's hella true, but like at the same time, like the other end of it is like there's a particular group who's on the receiving end of that shitty behavior, and it was like us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like, it's like it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. And then another part of this, okay, is kind of like it's economics, right? So people are wondering like why people can't take care of themselves. Some people just never really learned anything about money. That's just like a real thing. Like people just don't know how to like balance books. They don't know how to just make economic decisions that are based on like partnership and like a dual income or even one income, and like time management and things like that are really challenging for some people. Not everybody, but some people. Um and so the fact that there's just like so many people who like can't get their ducks in a row, can't figure shit out. That's interesting. I will say that like I think like in my case, I think it's just really funny because my family always loves to talk about like my mental health. Oh, she's got such poor mental health, or her mental health is all struggling, but they don't even know what mental health is. And they also don't know like what societal problems are. So like someone could be like, my family members are super problematic. Like I've explained some of the really problematic behavior that they've exemplified. They don't see their own personal behavior as being problematic. So they just keep doing shit, bad shit over and over and over. And typically I'm on the receiving end of this bad treatment. And here's their explanation to it. Like, oh, no. It's her mental health. Oh, it's her. She's the problem. Oh, it's her. She's the problem. Yeah, no, that's not. Oh, God. Just all I could say is like, if you can get out of cities like San Francisco, New York, just stay away from cities like that, because it is going to actually drive you mad. Oh God. Like it's just, well, I would say that if you have if you have like a little cushy job that is enabling you to like basically live in a pretty decent apartment and like afford a pretty decent quality of life, like do that. But if not, just go live somewhere fucking cheaper and get your shit together. Like, not in a joking way, but in a very real way, get your shit together. And all that really means is just have an apartment, okay? Have a job, eat your dinner, go to bed. For a year, just do that. Be boring. Like, be really, 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 really boring for like a year. And then after that year, like, see where it takes you. But be boring for a minute. It's kind of necessary. I used to think I could just brush past that point, like, oh, I know how to do that already. Oh, I already know how to do that. Yeah, no, you actually need to be the person who, like, really does that and who is actually, like, really fucking boring. Because if you're not, and if you don't prove kind of like to society and to your parents that you can actually be that and you can actually take care of yourself, they will literally be under this fucking impression that you can't do it. That's a problem. It's a problem. Ugh. Everyone honestly gets on my nerves. Like, let me not even try to pretend. I just want more money. I don't even, I want more money. I think that law is just ridiculous. Um, what I do think is like there needs to be like the homelessness has to stop, and it just has to be like a forced stop to homelessness, as in like they need to make like sanctions that say you can't have a tent on the street and you like have to go live somewhere in society. And so that means that the government basically needs to make housing, and like they need to make like artificial housing and artificial jobs that like anybody can get into. That in California there's actually not enough housing for all the people who need the fucking housing. There like aren't any apartments for these people to go into. That's why they can't afford apartments. So, and the affordable housing lists are like a million years long. So, like, how is anyone going to get any housing? They can't get any housing. There is no housing to get. So, like, the affordable housing wait lists are like 12 years in California. Like, where are people going to go for 12 fucking years? Like, who? And there are, the thing about California that's different from New York is in California there aren't any shelters. Like there's like 10 shelter beds or something in the whole city, so like 10 people can live in a shelter each night and everyone else just has nothing. In New York there's a certain thing, there's like a law that every there has to be enough beds to house every homeless person in New York. That isn't a law in California, so that's why people literally sleep on the streets and you have tent cities. But this is why the immigration crisis in New York is a thing, because it violates the laws. Like the people can't be on the street because it's against the law in New York. It isn't against the law in California. All of these things are weird and interesting, but like the crux of the problem is not just saying that everyone has a mental health issue, because they don't. Some people have a poverty issue. Other people have a matriculation issue, like they just don't know how to deal with society. They don't know how to be members of society. That's a real problem. Other people have issues that are like drug related, like they would just rather just use drugs all day. Other people have issues that are like an unwillingness to work. Like they just, for whatever reason, maybe they have like an affinity toward socialism or communism, but whatever their personal, like, preferences are, they don't want to work. And nothing that I can say or you say is going to change their like unwillingness to work, because they don't want to, and you can't make them, and I can't make, like, nobody can make them work because they don't want to work, because there are jobs. There definitely are jobs. And if they were to work those like low end jobs for, a period of time, they would gain more and more skills that would enable them to get better and better jobs so that they could just like have shit in society. At least like a place to live. They could afford that. But you have to work. Things aren't free. Like everyone has to work. So I do think that we are hitting this a very strange point in society though, because like so many people are being like held up and inflated by their parents, and that has to like stop. Like we're hitting a point where this next generation of moochers is going, like they're going to have to do something. They can't like perpetually like live with their families forever, and like people are going to have to start making decisions about like getting married or having children, and they can't do it like in their parents' home. They have to have their own homes. And like they have to know how to like partner, just all the shit that's like really important for like life, and like they just don't know how to do it, and that's what we're watching. I don't know. I'm not saying it matters. I don't think it does. I don't really think it matters. I think the people who have shit and who have an ability to create shit on the internet, like me and you, are going to keep on creating shit and figure out new alternative streams of income that will magically appear out of the sky. Everybody else will probably like not do anything. Or they'll cry like the fresh and phony who got demonetized. I saw that one girl's video about them today. She's very funny. I like her. She's hella funny. She's very funny. That's what I had to say about that.